Welcome to the Man Cave. Today we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing our reaction to the new Maul television show on Disney Plus. We just finished watching it. I know it came out on Monday, but with school activities and work and stuff, I was really a good dad and I waited and didn't watch it until he could watch it with me, and we just finished. And while it was fresh in our minds, we wanted to share with you guys
our thoughts and everything.
because, wow,
It was really good.
Let's start with the animation.
Be absolutely gorgeous. I thought, and I was expecting, and not that it would have been bad at all, fully expecting like Clone Wars kind of style, like that's what Bad Batch had, like obviously better, but like
Right.
Bad
The
Batch.
advances are head and shoulders above what we've seen before.
The backgrounds look like paintings. Like I would take like frames of this, even if just like this sky, like this city, and just put that on my wall.
Yeah, it was
beautiful.
absolutely amazing. It was very reminiscent of a video game, and I wonder if we talked about this a little bit while we were watching the show, if they're using the assets from what was supposed to be that Underworld video game that Star Wars had announced.
I looked up and I couldn't find anything. It was supposed, but it was all the connection to that was that it's like supposed to be reviving like that kind of tone and setting kind of thing.
Right.
Not necessarily reusing exact
So
assets.
yeah, so it
I'm
could have
not
been
sure.
inspired by that type of thing. We also just found out as we were coming down the stairs that this show has already been renewed for season two,
which is amazing.
Because we intended to hopefully once next week hits, we'll be able to keep these on Monday, and so Monday we'll watch the shows, we'll do our stream thing, our reaction, and that'll go right through to Star Wars Day, and that's how we'll celebrate Star Wars Day this year, is by talking about this episode or these episodes all together as a full series.
And I love Maul.
Maul has always been a great character.
He is my favorite Sith, and it's not close.
He is
like next is I guess probably Vader, but there is a huge big gap.
Maul is why the Phantom Menace was good.
I mean, I wouldn't call it good. I'd call it okay.
He was the redeeming grace Phantom Menace.
Him and then
Qui-Gon was cool, and seeing Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan was neat.
Mm-hmm.
But Maul, and I mean, he was only in that movie for what, like I think 3 to 5 minutes?
I'm pretty sure it's like 5 minutes in total.
Yeah.
And like 3.5 of that is the Duel of the Fates.
Right. And everything from that, I mean, they reintroduced
And Maul in that movie isn't even that, like, he looks cool, but he's not like that. He's not a character.
No,
he's
he
says like
thing.
4 words. I think he just says "Yes, Master" like once or twice.
He's this menacing thing, and you don't know what it is, and that is the Sith. And it's funny because some YouTubers have talked about how the names were wrong for the shows, and they
like the movies are like whatever. Yeah,
right,
I see them all the time.
And this could have been the return of the Sith,
mm-hmm.
because that's the Sith returning, and Maul represented that even more so than Sidious, who's in the back, who's hiding the whole time.
Yeah.
So Maul became the face of the Sith that awoke the Jedi and started this whole thing in the follow through of the Skywalker saga that should have ended at 6. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this show.
Because I mean, if Maul, I'm sorry before we go back to the show, but if Maul doesn't kill Qui-Gon, then Anakin doesn't become Vader.
That's true.
Because if Qui-Gon changes Anakin, it wouldn't have happened.
Maul knew that. I mean, we've seen Maul's entire life in different media. I mean, we've seen him as a child being given away by, I almost said Mother Gothel.
Talzin.
But yeah, Talzin. And then moving through his training and being abused by Sidious. And the comics have shown a lot of his early life, his hatred of the Jedi. Mm-hmm. And then we've seen him we saw the last battle between him and Obi-Wan Kenobi.
And
how his life ends.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a duel, but it's one of my favorite fights in all of Star Wars. It's beautifully choreographed.
And it is his utter hubris that destroys him.
The subtext,
he underestimates Kenobi so much.
Is probably the best subtext anywhere. It's beautiful.
And the awesome thing is with Sam Witmer's voice, because he does the voice for Mulligan in the show, he exudes that overconfidence, that hubris, that menace that Maul knows all is all, and he's always biting off more than he can chew. And we've already seen this where only in episode 2, and we're already feeling that he feels that he's got this it's like a mission from God, you know, where there's things
Like he
beyond
feels
us.
entitled to be able to like to this.
Yes, he's
purpose.
destined. You know,
He's
he's got
destined
this
for this.
destiny, and he will overcome any obstacle. He's not on either side. He's the first, like, he's a good representative of that gray force using thing. You'd almost expect his red saber, which, by the way, in the show is freaking
beautiful.
amazing.
It's so cool. And again, with
You almost
animation,
expect it to be orange, though,
and when it-
like the guys we saw in that Ahsoka show.
I don't.
Yeah,
We're not talking about that.
but it was still there.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Okay,
I mean,
whatever.
we can't. You can't talk about Maul outside of the greater Star Wars universe.
Yeah, we can
Because
talk about
this
that.
is-
We just
it's
don't
very-
talk about Ahsoka.
It's
I don't want to
very,
get into that.
It's very connected, and you're seeing those tethers within these things. Now, supporting cast. First of all, the planet itself seems to be a great supporting cast member. I don't know what planet they're on. They haven't actually said.
I don't think they said it. They said like 4 whatever, but I don't think that think that was the planet when in episode 2.
Right, and that's when he's talking, and the cop, Brandon.
No,
Brand-
it's not.
something
It's not
Lawson.
Brandon.
Starts with a B.
It's Brent. It's Bruh something.
Brenton. I don't know.
It's like
Anyway,
maybe it's Brenton.
but
I can
he's
look it up,
Officer
but-
Lawson.
Yeah.
And he is the main, I think, protagonist in this show.
I mean, he's like
Or maybe the antagonist if Maul's the protagonist.
if Maul's the main character, then he's the antagonist.
Yes.
But
he's he's a foil.
he's the
for Maul.
the Maul. Yeah.
He's trying to play catch up. I mean, you see this cop. The procedural part of the television show is actually really good, and it's something we've never seen in Star Wars before. There's almost hints of it within the early Rebels phases where you've got the Empire trying to take over this planet and establish the constabulary and setting up law and order and whatever. Or in that case, it was martial law. But this is a guy who's struggling. He's got obviously personal problems in his life. We don't know where the wife is.
We didn't even see that till season 2.
Right,
But,
episode.
episode 2. Sorry.
We don't know where the
episode 2.
wife is. He's got this older son. The picture on his desk is from obviously an earlier time when things were better.
Yeah.
And he's working with all these robots. Speaking of the robots, let's talk about Two Boots.
I liked Two Boots.
Two
I thought
Boots-
he was very fun.
Two Boots is very cool, and his opposite in this show is Spybot.
Is Spybot.
And-
Spybot is like I love how much personality they give into all of the droids.
Yes.
Even though it's very much like procedural, like Two Bots is like, well, should we call the Empire? That's what we're supposed to do. It's protocol. We gotta do this.
And then he follows the orders when what's his
he,
face tells him
but
no.
he still listens to Lawson more because they're partners.
Right.
But it still feels like there's a lot of like camaraderie and like genuine like not from him necessarily, but like genuine like feelings almost.
Right.
And like even when like he brings coffee and Lawson's like, "How's yours?" And he was like, "I can't drink because I'm just doing it
for
I'm just
the
doing it to
company."
hang out with you,
Yeah.
or whatever." It's like it's almost like the droids have like it's a real emotion kind of thing.
One
It's
of the
like something
most
you don't see from like 3PO very much,
Right.
and
No,
then, but
God,
then
never.
and you can't and R2 has it, but like he can't talk, so
You
it's
can't
harder to
understand
see.
It's all one-sided.
Yeah.
Whereas this way, we've already seen an emotional connection almost between this man and his partner.
And it feels like all the droids have that, because then Spybot's very much like he I get to do. I'm
Spybot
messing
definitely
around.
has his own personality.
And then even like the minor droid at the very beginning, the bank droid or whatever, seemed to be like scared and was like,
Yes.
what's his
But
name? What's it?
Demas.
Demas.
Yeah.
And then Demas seemed upset when the droid's head showed up and like all sad.
Right.
And so they're very clearly connections that are like actual emotional connections with the droids, which is nice.
So we've covered a lot of the characters. There's also a couple of Mandalorians and some others of Brax in his gang. One of the Mandalorians is called
Rook Cast.
who I've never.
We have seen her before because she is in Clone Wars.
Okay.
She
was
is-
one of his soldiers when he was.
She's
running
one of the
Mandalore.
main. She's the main one. It's him and it's a Saxon. Might be Gar Saxon. I don't remember who it is.
Okay.
One of the Saxons, and it's those two are the named ones. And so when he's like Daiwa Mandalorian and season 5, it's him. The person he's talking to. Right next to him is like this girl with like purple hair and whatever, and it's her.
Okay.
And so she's in that. She helps break him out when he gets arrested by someone in that show too. I don't remember when that happens.
After he
but
kills what's her face.
one of the syndicates, like
Oh, okay.
in like one of those times when he's like arrested, like when it's
Well,
him
and-
and Savage in like deep space or whatever.
And that's the tendrils that they're pulling on here. The loose threads that they left when Maul was in charge of the Shadow
Collective.
Which, I mean, we saw him as that brief cameo in Solo, where he was trying to tie things together. There was a couple of episodes in the season 7 story arc of Clone Wars, where he's trying to tie all of these criminal
And we
organizations
see him
together into an
build,
empire.
and we see him build all of that in season 4 or 5.
And then it falls apart after the Mandalore arc.
And it completely collapses.
And so, or before that, his empire is falling apart. That's why he goes to Mandalore. And then he tries to take on the Jedi.
And then Sidious shows up, and he's like, "You're gonna do what I want you to do anyway."
And that's when he kills his brother.
Savage, yeah.
So this guy has tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. He blames Sidious, and there's this deep hatred that's his motivation, where he wants Sidious. We know he hates Sidious. We know he hates Kenobi. Those are the two people in the universe that he hates the most.
Yeah.
But his end, as we know from the Sith, from their lore, and from Maul's previous appearances, hatred is what keeps this man alive. It's what keeps him going. I mean, when he was cut in half, it's what
Peter
allowed him to
Kenobi is
survive.
the only reason he was able to survive that.
Right. It's what helped him to survive. And then being replaced,
being it's a spider
tossed
body
aside,
somehow,
being tossed aside for Count Dooku. I mean, come on, that's a huge downgrade. And then when he finds
Dooku
out,
could do Force lightning, and Maul couldn't.
whatever. And then when he figures out what's really going on with Anakin, and how Anakin is getting played, and everybody in the universe is being played, and he thinks he can stop it because he's beyond this. And then whatever episode it is in Clone Wars 7, where everything falls apart. And
I think it's 10 because it's 4 episodes.
So he's left to flee, and that could have been the end of Maul until we see him again in Rebels. And in Rebels, we don't know what happened, how that bridges.
We don't know,
that's what this story is.
Because then in Rebels, he's lost everything.
Right.
He's abandoned on Malachor.
And so that's where this story could take us. It happens between the end of the Clone Wars and before Rebels starts. That's the time frame we're in. The Empire has taken over. The Jedi are gone. The war is over. And I mean, there's a Jedi that we've seen in this show briefly, who isn't even named yet. I don't know who he is. It's that little green turtle.
I think the subtitle said like Dact or something.
Okay.
It's like DAK, I think.
But this is a Jedi we've never seen before, with a Padawan we've never seen before, which is
It's like lizard character kind of looking guy.
It's that trope that they keep using. Oh, hey, there's another Jedi that made it.
It's getting a little bit upsetting because it's like, wow,
so many.
So this didn't work at all.
Luke was never the last.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? And we also know that during this time frame, Ahsoka's running around out there somewhere.
So is Cal Kestis. So is Kanan.
Yeah. So there's a bunch.
What's interesting is like the guy Lawson said, "I have like no one's even heard of laser swords."
We haven't seen a laser sword since the Clone Wars.
But he didn't say him. He said like we, as in like Empire, is
right.
Well,
and that's the thing. Again, we do not know what planet we're on. We're assuming it's Outer Rim, because every time they talk about calling for help and bringing in the Empire, it's as if it's this outside entity that was waiting to come in and lock down their planet. At first, when we first started watching it and we saw the visuals and we saw what was going on and how open, we thought it was Coruscant.
It looks like Coruscant. It's
very gigantic.
I think it's looking very reminiscent and like from that. But
so and most of the outer worlds never had this level of technology or anything.
Outer Rim, all I can think of in the Outer Rim that we know is like Tatooine, which is a desert. I think Naboo is also in the Outer Rim.
But we also saw a planet in the Obi-Wan series where there was that big city
wasn't that bad.
where where him and Leia were trying to first get away, and there was a lot of cityscape stuff.
And we see the fake fake Jedi.
Right, that spot, and I don't remember.
And we see the 501st clone who's like
We also see some city stuff in Bad Batch. You know, there's a couple of places where there's real city stuff, and they're hiding in underworld.
Like that first spot where the lizard girl is.
Yeah,
I can't think of her name now.
But yeah, that's what they're hiding out at their bar. Yeah, so this is we think it's a new planet. Like I said, they haven't said what it is. So at first it was really, because of the jump in the animation, how beautiful it was, how realistic looking it was.
It caught me off guard entirely.
If we were to watch this the way we're now in chronological order, you would watch Clone Wars, then this show, and then Rebels.
Probably, I would say maybe like Obi-Wan or something.
But I mean,
animation-wise.
And if you did that, no matter what you think about Rebels, no matter how good it was, no matter what it brought to us and how it helped us set up what we thought at the time was going to be the future of Star Wars before it got sold to Disney and went the way it did, it would be a disappointment. Not because of the quality at all, but because this is so much. The animation is so much more visceral.
Yes.
More. I mean, the quality is just so hyped that to go backwards, which is what would almost happen when you're watching Clone Wars, or not Clone Wars, Rebels. It would kind of be disappointing.
Because it wouldn't even be fair. Because Maul's now coming out in 2026. Rebels came out in like 2014.
Well, I know,
I think. Was
but
for
that's
season
like
one.
It's like kids who decide to watch Star Wars chronologically and they watch Phantom Menace before they watch the OG. You know, and that doesn't work.
But
you
again,
watch
you'd still be seeing that regression of visual effects and stuff.
Well, and story in that case.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, Revenge of the Sith. I think Revenge of the Sith is not that bad of a story. But, and even though they don't have the best visuals, but for 2005 they were amazing. Like,
Right.
even if the peak of animation from 2014 is what we have, which, let's be honest, it wasn't really the peak of animation at that. It was what Disney could give for cheap because it was their first time doing a Star Wars show.
I mean,
they just bought Star Wars. It was their first
Batman
project.
the Animated Series was probably, and that came out in the 90s, and that was peak animation for its time.
Yeah.
Then you had the X-Men show, the cartoon. And that was peak.
But
Spider-Man. Then they tried that electronic computer crap for that Spider-Man event, and people were like, "No, this is too far."
But so even if you had the peak of 2014 animation, you would never be you still couldn't be able to touch 2026 peak animation.
And I don't know
because animation changes so quickly.
Right. Well, and I don't know how they're doing it. I'm assuming that a lot of this is computer generated. But there are parts where it almost looks like they're using computer generation to enhance hand drawn.
Yeah, I wonder.
So I don't know if
like,
that's what's happening. It almost seems like it is.
It feels like they just took like the storyboard, hand drawn thing, where like there's our backgrounds, and just like took those and put our characters.
Some of the art
so
in this show looks like full on matte paintings. It was beautiful,
and like some shots you can see light, and it's all like fuzzy on the top because how it's like so beautiful.
There were shots in here.
That too.
There were shots in this movie that looks like they could, TV show that looks like they could have been used in a movie. That's how realistic and really grounded it was. This was a huge win. I'm very glad that
I love how Maul looks. It looks painted. It looks like it's like brush strokes. That's what it all looks like.
It looks almost like it's a human wearing makeup. I mean, that's what it's. He looks. It's the closest that the animated Maul has looked to the real life Maul that we've ever seen. And actually, I think he might even look better than real life. The real life Maul was more smooth.
I think
this one has the crags and the wrinkles of the age. You can see what he's in his face. You almost see what he's gone through. And the updated costume, that like tattered hood and the robe thing,
beautiful.
And when he first turns on that double-bladed lightsaber, it was. I mean, it was like, oh my god! It was almost a sitting in the theater moment when we were. I remember when Phantom Menace came out, and we had camped out at the theater.
I wasn't alive.
And we went in the theater, and as soon as you hear the music, the whole theater went nuts and everything. Yeah. This is one of those moments. Kind of like when The Mandalorian first came on TV, and we're all just glued to the television set, hoping that this is finally going to be the Star Wars that we've waited for, and that's where we are at. I mean,
I said it looks so good. How many 20 plus times?
Yeah, we've had such a mixed bag of quality, and for a little while it looked like there was quantity over quality going on with Star Wars stuff. We've had the really good Mando season 1.
Marvel, I think, too.
Well, but Mando season 1 we've had really good. We've had really bad. I think the worst Star Wars project I've ever seen was probably The Acolyte.
I've still never watched that.
We've had, and then there was Ahsoka, which was very hit or miss. There was some good.
It was a miss.
There was some bad.
A complete miss.
It was the heart was there. The attempt was there. We had Skeleton Crew, which was phenomenal, but never really felt like. It was a story within the Star Wars universe, but it didn't feel like Star Wars.
I never finished watching that.
It was kind of like the old Ewok Adventures, where it's in the world of Star Wars, but it's very different from Star Wars.
Yeah,
and that was what they were going for, so that worked great. And then we've had some even hit or miss with the animation. What was that racing animation show that they did before
Resistance? I didn't watch it.
Yeah, Star Wars Resistance.
Because Rebels did good. And then they were like, okay, let's do a movie. So then they did Force Awakens.
Right.
Because this was Rebels now releasing like every year or whatever. But then they ended Rebels season 4 like 2016. and was like, wow, so by the end of that, Rebels was popular. And that was during the OG trilogy.
Right.
Now that we have our trilogy building, let's do one for our show.
Yeah.
And it's even more kid-focused than Rebels is. And it's even more childish. And it's way worse. And it's awful. I haven't watched it. I've watched bits and I've watched scenes.
I saw the whole thing, and it was a miss. I mean, I understand what they were going for. I don't feel they quite got there. There was some cool characters, but the overall story just wasn't great. And
the gold-plated soldier was kind of cool.
You felt like you were in the Star Wars universe, like. But again, it was to the side. It was away from everything, which maybe is what they were going for. But I thought they did a much better job with things like the Bad Batch.
Except with that show, you also see the Starkiller base destroy like 80 planets. Well, you see all of that.
You see, yeah, the First Order is kind of coming in and making its appearance known, and you're seeing it take over.
Bad Batch was great.
But Bad Batch was much better at that connective tissue piece than what they're doing with Mandalorian. I mean,
Bad Batch has probably done the most heavy lifting out of everything to help with Palpatine coming back, guys.
Right.
And it makes sense.
The cloning stuff.
It makes sense, we promise.
But, I mean, it's still left... The Bad Batch sort of left us wondering, too. You know, there's so many open threads there. What's going on with Omega? You know, and at the end of the Bad Batch, when there's almost that, like, end credit scene where now she's an adult flying off to do her own thing. It's like, what?
I was still so shocked that Tech actually died in that.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of
that stuff. So off guard.
But quality-wise, Maul is definitely on this high end of the spectrum versus the low. And the story hasn't even had time to really develop. We're not sure what's going on. Maul apparently wants an apprentice, so he's going after this Padawan that we think is a Padawan who has now shown after the end of season or episode two. We've seen her use the Force. We know that she has a Force using master, which we're assuming is a Jedi, but maybe we're wrong. You know, he's not the one who has a laser sword. And
neither of them do, though.
Right.
That we've seen.
The only laser sword we see is Maul's.
But he calls her a Jedi, and she doesn't deny that. She says
that is
true. That teaching.
He also talked about how she was indoctrinated as a child. So we're assuming that this is a youngling and her, or a Padawan and her master who somehow avoided the Order 66 and so far have not been hunted down by the Inquisitors.
It could be. So here's a little bit of a spoiler about Jedi Survivor, if anybody is anything. That's the second Caucasus game.
And that's canon to the...
That is canon. As so far, that's been considered canon.
Okay.
Nothing's outright said go on against that. But so the main villain by the end of the game is a person named Bode Akuna, who is a Jedi from The Thing. And what we learned from him is that Jedi were sent out on spy missions. So they weren't like with clones or whatever.
Right.
And so they were to go like be on intel. And so he gets found out and is like, I'll work for Denvik, who's like an ISB agent, to help find other Jedi who are hiding, so that I can stay hidden from Vader and the Inquisitors. But so it could be that kind of thing where it was those guys were sent on stealth operations, not as here's all these clones.
Not as a general.
Yeah.
Right. And the Jedi were peacekeepers. They were Jedi in the what was that? It wasn't Force Awakens. What was that one where you had the clone of Vader?
Starkiller?
You play as
That's
him.
not canon.
I know, but the idea behind the story was some of the general like Coda in that game didn't trust the clones, so he didn't work with clones, and he had his own true. So that's why
it'd be cool if they were taken from that, because that's where Steph Whitmer came from.
Yes,
because he came from Starkiller voice. But what I was also trying to note with the whole saying we haven't seen later sword since then is we learned at the beginning of Survivor that Cal has publicly been doing stuff with Guerrera, Saw Gerrera. So like the Empire's after him, and like people know there's a Jedi around who's like a rogue Jedi or whatever. So they know later swords kind of thing is going on, even without like the background stuff of like Rebels or whatever.
And the propaganda after Clone Wars was that the Jedi tried to overthrow the Galactic
Republic.
And that's
why he's scarred. That's why Sidious is all messed up.
They hurt the Emperor, who, the propaganda machine has been making people believe the Jedi are the bad guys. So,
I have in my head, the attempt on my life has left me scarred, like in my brain now.
Yeah.
That's a great scene.
Yeah.
But this show is really good. Do you have any negatives about the show?
The length of time, 24 minutes was not enough. I would have loved to have a full 40. Make this an hour show, and I'd still show up for it. It was
The guy's
so
voice,
good.
Lawson's voice, I love.
I gotta say, not just his.
Mm-hmm.
All the voice acting.
I will say, Varian.
Various.
Whatever. Varian. I think it's Varian.
Whatever.
Whatever. His name, or his voice,
Little fish guy.
is distracting me a little bit. It's not taking me out of it, and I like his voice, and it's fine. But I feel like I recognize it from somewhere, and I can't find his actor, so I can't pin where it's from. But it's throwing me off a little bit, because it's, like, so more high-pitched than everybody else.
Right.
It's not a bad thing necessarily, but that's, like, my only thing I can say.
Well, and I love the way that they're doing the story in small increments and slowly building it together. Like in the first episode, we see that there's something going on between the underworld figures, and Maul's able to manipulate that so that now they're fighting each other. And then he takes the winner of that to go up against the Pikes.
Yeah.
And now he's setting up that.
He's almost setting up this, like, this bracket he's making for himself.
Whereas he's this shadowy puppet master. So as much as he hated what the Emperor did to him, he's utilizing those tools, in his own world. And he's done this before, and he's done it successfully.
And this is what he does, because he learns how to...
But the problem is, he is great at destroying stuff. And he's horrible at trying to hold stuff together. And so right now he's got this small core group of people, and it's tight knit and it's working. But the last time he tried this, his syndicate fell apart almost instantly as soon as he was missing. And I don't know if we're gonna bother with the Hutts because they weren't really part of it before.
They were never part of it.
Then we've got the Pikes. We've got whoever these two mobsters are, which I didn't seem. They must have been smaller members on whatever this world is, which is now we're finding out is part of this spice trade lanes. So that's why this is important. And possibly, we don't know if Lawson is this do-gooder type guy, or if he's the kind of guy who's just trying to broker a peace, and if the mobsters are both doing their own thing and they're not going outside their territory, then maybe it's okay. I don't know how he fits into that, because they're not really explaining it. And we know he's not in charge. He's like I don't know what his rank is.
He's a captain. He's a captain. But he's not the chief.
We see his superior in the second episode coming and telling him, get this under control. We've already had to talk to the governor. If the governor gets nervous, they're going to call in the Empire. So right now, he's calling the shots on the investigation. But he's not in charge of, and it could easily be taken away from him.
Yeah.
And I like that too. I also like that he has his own underworld ties with the woman that he spoke to in the second episode. I don't even remember her name. But she was
only in there for like a
she
minute
runs some kind of entertainment place. It could be a brothel, it could be a bar, could be who knows what it is. But they have some club, right. They have some sort of connection there, and she's the one who fills him in on some of the information from the Shadow Enclave that he couldn't find through the regular police procedures.
Yeah.
So I like that we're talking about a detective who's got ties all over the place because he has to use these contacts in order to make his planet or his part of the planet safe.
But what's fascinating with Maul is we've seen him before, like Phantom Menace. He got beat because there was 2 Jedi and one of him.
Yes.
So then come Clone Wars, the first thing he does, he attacks Kenobi, tries to attack Kenobi. But then the second thing he does is he builds, Savage, I guess he gets before, but then also builds a group. Right. He builds the Shadow Collective or whatever. To that because he's like, okay, no, I'm not by myself.
Right.
Then he gets beat by Ahsoka and everyone, and I don't remember like how he would. But like now trying to counteract that because now he's being like the shadowy because he's beat by Palpatine.
Yes.
And shows up and kills Savage.
Well,
by being the shadowy overlord of watching both sides, and he sees with Clone Wars how Palpatine he realizes that, and then he's like, well, now I got to do that.
We saw hints of that all the way back in Solo.
Yeah. Where
he was behind what was going on with part
behind
of
Voss or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Either that's what he was using Kira to control Voss, or he was in charge of Voss all along. Who knows?
But it's so cool how we
keeps finding other public faces.
Yeah.
It's things he learned from his master.
And we see how when he gets defeated,
he adapts.
He sees how they beat him and then adopts that strategy to try again.
That was what was really interesting too. In this show, when he confronts the Padawan girl, he sticks her in that cage thing, and he tells her, "You've been indoctrinated your whole life. It's time to see the universe the way it really is." And then she says something about how it's worked for me, and he said, "Well, now you have to adapt." And it says, and he's telling her, "This is how you survive because this is what I had to do." And I kind of like that. I think that this is a great look at the character, the the psychosis really of this being that has been nothing but a tool, and then tried to rise above that in his destiny, got beat down, rose back up, got beat down. I mean, this is a constant thing for him, and we know that what he is his own worst enemy, and that all of his plans, while hinging on certain things, he does this great strategy and he builds up and he gets it all to be right where he wants it to be, and then he can't maintain it. And we know that at his end is because we've seen his end.
We know how he dies. We know how he gets to that spot.
Right.
But that doesn't make it any less engaging for the show.
Not at all.
It makes it maybe even better, because like, even though you know he's not going to die, it's like, well, is this other person going to die? Is his team going to die? What's going to happen with this?
Everything is up for grabs except for Maul's fate at the end of this. We don't know if at the end of and we know that now that there's a second season,
we know it can't end with him on Malachor.
Exactly. Not after season 1, but it could after season 2. Something's going to happen, and his grand plan will fall apart. And it'll be interesting to see what the instrument of that defeat is, because in his history, the instrument of his own defeat has traditionally been himself.
Now, I'm curious as to your opinion. So, presumably, obviously going to call in the Empire at some point.
Yes.
They're going to have to.
Yes.
Because even though Lawson's interesting, he can't, no one's going to be able to fight Maul in a one-on-one fight. So we need to have that for the story. So who do you think they're going to call in? It can't be Sidious or Vader. No. They're too big.
If they report the laser sword usage the way they're supposed to, my guess would be the protocol is going to be 2 to 3.
They're supposed to report Maul.
I know. Well, and Maul. Yeah, that's what the ISB said. So we're going to see somebody from the ISB.
That they were looking for him.
We'll see someone from the ISB, and we know the ISB is a great foil for anything after watching Andor.
I haven't watched that either. I gotta watch more Star Wars stuff.
But they will likely send 2 to 3 Inquisitors to investigate what's going on. And I think once they find out what's happening, the Empire will put its grip in this planet, which will probably never be free of it again.
Yeah.
But by that time, Maul and his crew will be moving away. Because I don't think that until we get to, I don't know, one of the last 2 episodes on Star Wars Day might be when we see a real lightsaber fight.
That'd be great.
I mean,
I don't think we're gonna get the Grand Inquisitor though.
Oh, God.
We're not gonna.
I don't think we're gonna get, because they have to investigate first.
I'm trying to think of who would show up.
I don't even know. There's been so many Inquisitors that they use over and over again. They might just make up new ones. I mean, we've had there's the first brother, the second brother, the third sister, the 8th, whatever. I mean, I
think all the numbers start and they just go up.
Well, we've seen 1 through 8, right? I don't think we've seen beyond 8 in anything.
We've seen 12.
We've seen 12.
Male 12, male 8, and girl 7 are Clone Wars, Rebels.
Okay.
They're the 3 that he kills. The 3 that he kills. The Maul kills.
Who does Ahsoka kill to get?
I think that one's the 6th brother. I believe.
Okay.
First sister. I don't think we've ever seen the first sister.
If 12 is in Rebels, and this was before Rebels, then it'll probably be somewhere lower than that.
It can't be. I'm trying to think. It cannot be the 7th sister, the 5th brother, and the 12th brother, because Maul has killed them very easily in Rebels.
Okay.
So we can't see him fight them.
That's the future.
I do think that the numbers are also based on how strong they are, though.
Oh, okay.
Is at least how my brain was thinking of it, because the 12th brother shows up for the first time ever with in that Malachor arc, and then dies in that arc.
Okay.
So that seemed like the weaker ones.
So you think they're moving up?
I think so.
Okay.
I think based on joining,
right after number 1 would be Grand Inquisitor.
Yes.
But in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show,
that's the 3rd sister, is Reva.
When she kills, we think, the Grand Inquisitor, she becomes the Great. They don't go to number 1 good and moved up. She jumps up.
I think Vader calls her that because Vader knows it was all a trick.
Okay.
I think everyone, and I think they were all just messing with her and see what she would do. I think they were trying to see how far she would actually go. Because we see him, Grand Inquisitor walks up almost immediately after he stabs Reva. So he was there the whole time, and he's just like, let's just see where this goes. I think that was all a ploy by everyone.
Okay.
But I don't know what Sister Barriss was, because I don't think we ever know.
And she only goes on one mission and then betrays them.
But it'd be when they join. It wouldn't be like, okay, the first sister slot open, now you can be the first sister next one. I see, okay. I think it's only one person's ever called that.
Okay.
Except for Grant. Grant's like the leader of the Inquisitors. But the second sister...
I don't think And I mean, I can't pretend to be as brilliant as Filoni in writing this stuff. I just can't. So possibly he would bring in the Grand Inquisitor, but I don't think that he's likely to use him that soon. Even in Rebels, it took a long time before we saw the Grand Inquisitor.
No, he was the first one. He's in season 1, and he dies there.
Okay.
There are fates much worse than death. Lets go and falls.
Right.
That's where Ezra gets his scar. That's where Ezra's
but it's
a
near
Jedi.
the end of the season.
That's the season finale.
Right.
Is him dying.
That's what I'm saying.
Because that builds into Vader.
It took a long time for them to get to that point.
Yeah.
And in this one, I think that he would send his troops first. Especially if this is a planet in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And if they only report the lightsaber usage and they don't report Maul, that gives them an out for who they're going to send.
And they could
Maul is the one. If they say we've seen Maul, then that could push the protocol all the way up to Vader.
Yeah.
Because if you remember at the end of Clone Wars, when Maul and Ahsoka are presumed dead, Vader's the one that goes to investigate.
Checks. Yeah.
Now a lot of that more so for
Ahsoka,
but the Emperor knows Maul.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time that Maul was a threat, the Emperor put him down.
Maul is the biggest liability for him as well.
Yes, especially at this time frame where he's still trying to hide his connection to the dark side.
Yeah.
Where he's not openly, I mean, he is the Emperor, but he's not openly a Sith Lord.
But so the second sister, it can't, because she's in Jedi 1. She's like the main antagonist of Jedi Fallen Order.
Okay.
So it won't be her. It won't be the third sister because that's Obi-Wan. Fourth sister, I don't know who that. I don't think we've seen that one.
Okay.
The ninth is Masana Tide. She's like the larger, like yellow skinned one, the big one. I don't think it's gonna be her. It probably will be maybe. Have we seen the fifth brother die? Actually, did he die?
Because who was with Reva in Obi-Wan at first when they're first investigating the planet?
Those guys.
3 of them running around.
I think it's Reva. It's I think the fifth brother, and then the girl I don't think is named, but I think she's the fourth or the sixth.
So they could use, if they wanted to go back to characters they've already used, they could use those. Otherwise, I mean, there's nothing.
The fifth brother's
them
also
from
in Rebels though. He's the male when the seven sisters there. He's the bigger, strong male. Okay. I don't know. Does he die in that show? Why is he not in that show later?
I thought all 3 Inquisitors died in that show.
When does he die?
In Malachor, I thought, before Vader.
Because I remember.
Because remember, they're doing.
He kills the girl.
Yeah.
Oh wait, does he kill both?
Yeah.
At that time.
Because I think it's a twisty blade thing, and then
the guy flying away. That's 12.
Oh, okay.
But the 7 and 5 were the antagonists.
I think Maul kills all of them.
Because
Kanan and him are fighting them.
Kanan and Ahsoka are fighting. No, because Ezra and Maul leave wherever they are, and they run into I think 5 and 7, and then Ezra gets grabbed by 7, and Maul's fighting the 5th. I guess kills the 5th there, and then he throws his thing and kills the 7th sister.
Right.
And then they keep going, run into Ahsoka and Kanan.
And that's when he blinds.
And he blinds Kanan, which maybe we could see why that happens.
Good.
What if he knows Kanan before?
Well,
what if we see a Kanan in this show?
No, I don't like that idea.
No. Well, if we just see him and Hera, and the start of the ghost thing.
I would rather not.
No. Okay.
Part of the biggest problem that we had with the Ahsoka series was that it tried too hard to be Rebels live action season whatever.
No, it tried too hard to just rewrite what happened in Rebels, and it pissed me off. A lot.
And I don't want that to happen here. I think we have a fresh canvas. That's why we're on a new planet. We've got a new crew. We're not shackled by what we've seen before.
Because that never made sense. But that never made sense to me. Why is he blind Kanan?
Because, well, I think he did that in that show. He's trying to show Ezra that the dark side is stronger. He's trying to show Ezra that Kanan is blinded by his faith in the Jedi, and that Ezra should be outside of that. So he blinds Kanan to prove a point. Otherwise, why wouldn't he just kill Kanan? He wants to hurt his teacher, so he doubts his teacher. It's a psychological piece. It was the wound that he gave to Kanan was actually to inflict a wound on the relationship between Kanan and Ezra.
Which didn't work because it brought them closer together.
I know.
because Maul is his own enemy.
And again, Maul's hubris got in the way. He's like, if I can show this kid that my way is better, then he'll go to my way.
Yeah.
But that's where we're at. So, for those of you who are still watching, thank you.
Overall, we thought it was good.
Yeah, definitely thumbs up from us. This is Star Wars: A True Return to its animated form, which is incredible. This is a definite hit. I will be here for every episode after, and if Disney decides to sell this in physical media, we will own it, because please start doing more physical media. I hate that everything is streaming and digital and you never know anything. I own everything I can, and I will buy
when
this.
it's on digital, we can very easily go through and edit stuff when we want to. We can go back and edit things without everybody noticing.
That's why I want to own it. I want it to be legitimate and real and mine.
It's like when I went back and edited the clock into the Stranger Things.
I know. But that's where things are and where we stand.
And that kind of made it better. But they can do that for anything whenever they want to.
We will be here at least one, maybe not the day they come out, but with the week they come out, we will be in reviewing the episodes as we go through. We probably won't have as much to say once the show continues.
The problem is Mondays are really hard.
This was our preview stuff.
But I see why they do Mondays, because that's
started.
when May 4th will be.
And once Star Wars Day hits, we will definitely, if it turns out to be legal to show our reaction while we're watching the show, we might do that. But again, we don't want to tick off Disney. We can't afford to get sued.
I'll have to look into it. But I think the problem there is the audio would be considered piracy.
Okay, we don't want to do. We're not trying to pirate anything. This is our opinion only. And if we can't do that, then we won't show our reaction watching the show.
Because I'm not good enough at editing to be able to be like, let's place in our reactions only and do this. I can't do that. I can barely edit I can barely edit now.
We don't have edit. We're on our phone.
Our editing software is I put on the title or the intro.
So thank you for joining us. We hope you found us at least a little bit entertaining. For those of you that did, feel free to like and subscribe. For those of you who are already subscribed, share this with your friends. Put us out there.
If you didn't like it, too bad.
If you did like it, still share it, but don't tell anybody you didn't like it.
And if you didn't like it, then why are you still here?
We're almost up to 200 subsubscribers.
We're very, very close to that milestone. Not a big milestone compared to most people.
No,
but that's a milestone for us.
That'd be huge for us. I've started watching a couple of new Heroescape channels, and I'm like, and they're saying stuff like, "Oh, we got sent this to review," and I'm like, I don't know if we'll ever get there, because I think you have to have thousands and thousands.
We probably won't, because we don't have any way to. We're not making money.
We can't be monetized, but it's fun to dream, and maybe someday somebody will send us stuff and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this?"
It's still a hobby. It's fun.
And I mean, right now, as I mentioned in our last video, we're on our road to Gen Con. We're about to order tickets probably this weekend, and we're making progress in that arena. And last year at Gen Con, we were actually recognized by people who watched the show. So that was really cool and made us feel just phenomenal about what we do, because we're so niche. And I mean, on the internet now, everybody's got a channel for something. And this is one of the few places where you see a Gen X and a millennial,
I'm a Gen Z.
How
dare you?
The different generations are actually...
I'm also the end of Gen Z. You were so far off.
But, I mean, that's how things are. So, thank you again. Have a good day. Until we meet again, may all your rolls be crits, and may all your Star Wars be this good.